Hello and welcome to coverage of the Super Sunday Series. We're in Renton, Washington at Wizards of the Coast headquarters. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Randy Buehler, and we're underway in day two. This is round number 7. This is Fate Reforged Cons Booster Draft. Very early in the format. And Matt Costa on your left is sitting at 4-1-1. His opponent, Mamoru Nagai, also at 4-1-1. And Matt's got a very consistent style, aggressive red-white deck, and it looks like Mamoru is on something similar, but of the white-black.
Yeah, he's black-white. He's got 2 harsh sustenance.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's got he does have a Palace Siege. He's got the black Siege in here.
Is he a warrior deck from what you can see there, or is it more just sort of black-white stuff?
There is a Raider Spoils. I don't see a ton of warriors specifically, but
okay.
He got that Horde Chief. He's got a Sage Eye Harrier. But he's also got a couple War Behemoths, Alabaster Kieran. He just looks like he's black-white stuff.
Okay. In the meantime, Costa has gone Manifest into Morph here. He did attack with his Manifests as well off of Soul Summons. Nagai declined to trade, which is interesting. When you see your opponents on red-white and is kind of going curve out 2-drop into potential 3-drop on you, you do have some incentive to try to make a trade there. So Nagai must have some type of plan to stem the bleeding here. I'd have to doubt that his game plan is to race, as red-white is one of the fastest 2-color combos in the format. Though it's the fastest.
Okay.
Yeah. And Mamoru, though, is on, probably the second fastest. And it looks like they have fairly similar starts. Morph, and Manifest Morph for Costa. And it looks like Nagai doesn't want to offer the trade for his Morph against Matt's either. So kind of interesting that Morph neither blocked nor attacked. He just doesn't want to lose it. It looks like he might be favoring that first Morph that he's played, the one to the right from his perspective, which is kind of interesting. And it looks like he's going to take the 4 here. And Costa's got to be happy about this.
Nor blocked with that Morph.
Yeah. Twice.
What are his Morphs that he's so
Yeah, what Morph is that he
with?
just is in love with here?
Sage Eye Harrier, War Behemoth.
He's got 1 War Behemoth in hand. He may have played it as that Morph. And a really nice curve here from Costa. So 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop. Oftentimes that's what it takes. All right, so the Morph on the left, on his left, is a War Behemoth, because he just drew his other War Behemoth, but he had one in his hand before. I don't know what that first Morph is, though, that he played. That's the question.
He's got a Ruthless Ripper. I don't know why you wouldn't block with that.
Yeah, you think you would just trade that off, right?
Right. I mean, your dream is that Costa's up to something, does a trick, and suddenly you have Surprise Death Touch, right?
Yeah. It's kind of funny. And the guy he hasn't participated yet. He has not attacked and he has not blocked. He's hit his 5th land here.
I mean, 5 is usually the scary spot with Morphs, but there's not 3 colors there, there's only 2 colors.
Now he's going to get
Makes 5
aggressive.
a lot less scary, right?
Oh, totally. I mean, that could now be like a War Behemoth or the 5/3, like a Krumar Bondkin. Could, of course, be a Sage Eye Harrier.
Which he also has, for the record.
Which isn't scary. So
if you're Matt, do you just take it and race?
Absolutely. And I'm begging my opponent to dump a bunch of mana into one of these things.
Yeah. Just let me attack with Prowler.
Yeah.
I'll hit you for 8.
Man has 8 power up, and now his opponent's on 0 blockers. It's like pretty happy to trade either the tempo or the life loss, or even both here. Oh, is that Harsh Sustenance in hand?
He has 2 in his
deck. He has
deck.
2. I think he's actually got both in his hand.
Interesting.
So if you have it, you just take out the Morph, because you know that can get flipped up at some point, where the Manifest, that's not the case. Another Morph. Face down creatures left and right here for both players. This does not leave Nagai enough mana, though, to cast that Harsh Sustenance, so he could be taking a
lot of damage.
Pretty big hit here.
Yeah, smash.
Matt Costa's on the attack with all every turn plan. Has not failed to do so yet. What is Nagai thinking about? Revealing
Now
something?
he's going to block.
So that's a War Behemoth. And he's going to block the Manifest creature, thinking, well, this is my best chance to trade. And that is...
Sometimes you just get to hit them for 5 with Canyon Lurker.
God, 9 damage. It's going to bring the guy down.
It was a Mardu Scout.
He could have actually flipped it up, but
To no effect.
getting him down to 5 seems better. Now, all of a sudden, Matt Costa has Nagai in Aerostorm range. Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty brutal there for Nagai, but remember, he does have Harsh Sustenance in hand here. He can use it to take out the Lurkers and get himself back out of range. Wouldn't be surprised.
He's also the deck where that Channel Harm wound up.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have the 6th land yet, but
No.
could be relevant. If he goes land, nothing. I don't know if Matt would play around Channel Harm there.
I think he probably would.
He's far enough ahead. I mean, if you're far enough ahead, that's one of the scariest things that can happen.
I think he's actually just going to play the Harrier here. All right, risky business.
Leaves 3 blockers.
He's got 3 blockers, but he's completely tapped out.
Right. Aerostorm just kills him.
Yeah, Aerostorm is just attack and kill you. And he also just gave Matt a target for his suspension field, which Matt is going to oblige him. Sure. Matt plays that land from his hand. That's kind of interesting. Why does he want 4 mana up? Does he have War Flare here? You know, playing that 6th land from the guy's perspective probably doesn't ring bells, but for us who watched him draft and know his list,
There are
it
no
does.
6-drops.
Yeah, he
And
doesn't.
there is a
have them.
Tormenting Voice.
and he's got a voice, so he doesn't want to play extra lands out of his hand.
Unless he
Also,
has
his
something to do with
opponent's
them.
playing black, so like it's just no upside to that. And now that first morph actually is going to jump in front of the Lurkers here.
The guy goes to 1.
Yeah, it was Krumar Bonkin, and Matt had neither War Flare nor the ooh. Leaping
with
Master.
2 up.
He is going to have to kill that Leaping Master.
Oh, you know what his last card is?
What is it?
It's a mountain. There's no reason to hold 2 land, is I think what Matt has figured out.
Okay.
So he's just trying to make sure that he can activate Leaping Master and still play whatever spell he draws.
Sure.
So if his hand is land, then if he draws something, you know, if he draws a 4 or 5 drop, he's put himself in a bad spot.
Totally.
And there's no reason for him to hold more than 1 land because he's only got the 1 Tormenting Voice.
Right. All right, so here's the Manifest, and that leaves Nagai with his Harsh Sustenance in hand, which is, I think, what he has. And this is the turn. You know, I think the idea here is that I think he's forced to be a little greedy here and just pass the turn back. I mean, he's going to be thinking about...
He's going to be thinking about Feet of Resistance. Is what
Feet
he's
of
thinking
Resistance,
about.
but-
Like, that's the other thing Matt accomplished by playing that 6th land, right, is he's got a very scary white and 1 sitting untapped.
I don't think it matters to Nagai, though. I think he can just wait till Matt's turn anyway. Because if he fired it off here and Matt had feet, Matt just untaps and kills him anyway. So you might as well just wait and hope that Matt sinks an extra couple of mana into his Leaping Master first. I mean, you do give him the chance to draw it.
Right.
Okay, 3, and both creatures are going to
Yeah,
attack.
you might as well get in with the Prowler.
Totally.
Like, the Nagai obviously has to kill Leaping Master or you win the game. And if Nagai spends mana to kill Leaping Master, then your Summit Prowler can't be blocked profitably.
So I think what's happening here is he's going to chump block with Manifest, he's going to kill the Leaping Master, and then he's going to try to leave his mana back next turn for War Behemoth to eat the Summit Prowler.
Really? He
What?
uses Harsh Sustenance to kill the Summit Prowler, so it's a 2-for-1 trade, but leaves the Leaping Master. I would have thought double block Summit Prowler and Harsh Sustenance the Leaping Master.
Yeah, you can't leave that Leaping Master on the table unless you have a way to deal with it.
I agree. What is he up to?
Well, maybe he's got a plan. We don't have a great view of his hand here.
Right.
I mean, he's left himself dead to Leaping Master here.
Yeah, I mean, he 2-for-1'd himself to kill the Summit Prowler. Why
Yeah.
not just 2-for-1 yourself with the Morph in the Manifest?
And that way you get to kill the Leaping Master too.
Right.
Yeah,
You wanted to keep that Morph.
This is not looking good for Nagai. So he's got a second copy of Harsh Sustenance that he could use on the Leaping Master.
Okay.
But he's forced to now chump block the War Shrieker, which is just going to set him back further here. I think that's a Behemoth. Yeah. He would have loved to have found a window to flip that up, but Costa has not given him that luxury. And now he needs to draw something big right now, or else this War Shrieker is going to finish off Nagai. Most creatures will do the job here. I think he's got a Sultai Emissary. Yeah, he does. That works.
And a Raider Spoils.
Okay.
I mean, works is... I guess the 2-2 that gets left behind is actually a 3-2.
Yeah, it trades.
So it will eventually trade.
I mean, you don't love the spot you're in if you're in Nagai, but he is not dead, so he's got to love that part of it. And this could be something,
Could be.
you know?
Yeah, no, he has stabilized at 2.
Now,
But, I mean,
he needs to close
Any
the door.
spell, close the
Yeah,
door. I
it
mean,
just
he's-
doesn't take much for Costa to win this game.
correct. I mean, both the Aerostorms went on the spot. Any creatures that he draws are lethal. Costa keeps drawing land, though, and the guy's still in it. That is not going to trade. Which makes sense, right? It keeps,
Yes.
Jeering Instigator live as an auto win.
Totally. Also, it might not be a trade. I mean, I guess Nagai probably would have just flipped up by now, but there's that off chance that it's something just bigger. All right, Nagai is going to attack. Huh. Kill shot?
Could be. You probably have to go find out.
I mean, the problem with attacks like this are that it actually opens up Costa to beating a kill shot with something like a haste creature. He's got 2 Valley Dashers, and he's also got the Heel Cutter, and I think the other guy's dead, right?
Oh, wow. I forgot about the Valley Dashers.
Yeah.
They're quite good here, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, I don't look.
So
Nagai
many
needs
draws.
to start trying to shut the door. Like, I get what
He does.
he's doing.
He does. He can't just sit here and let
No.
the red deck draw off the
Yeah.
top while you're at 2.
Right.
And Matt's not attacking. He clearly puts him on kill shot.
Right.
I believe there is a kill shot in his list. Yeah. You, me, Matt, and everyone watching are all putting a guy on kill shot.
Right.
Be an awesome bluff if it's a bluff.
All right. Skull Hunter's gonna force Matt to ditch a redundant mountain. He's got another couple
Yeah,
of
he's
lands.
definitely flooded here.
He is. I think he's also got a Rush of Battle in his hand.
Ah. That's not what he needs.
He really doesn't want to play that into a
You know what?
potential kill
If
shot.
that rush was Lightning Shrieker, he would win. The game would be over.
You're right.
That was the debate. That was his last card, was Rush of Battle versus Lightning Shrieker.
It is true. Now, the Skull Hunter is a warrior.
Yeah, all right. Matt's tired of this kill shot.
I guess he just wants to get it out of his hand.
Yeah, and the game's sort of slipping away, right?
Oh, yeah.
He can't afford to just sit here and draw forever if he's taking 6 a turn.
Interestingly, I think he also
actually dead
wants,
next turn.
I think he wants Nagai to attack him.
So his Valley Dashers are lethal. Oh, that's
Right.
super smart, actually.
Yeah. All right, so
This-
Nagai just drew Ruthless Ripper.
You know Matt's dead next turn.
Yes. Very dead.
And
In
he draws a
fact,
plains.
He is dead. So the guy
Wow.
somehow found a win here. I mean, it did take Matt drawing about 6 lands.
Right.
But that's what Nagai needed to have
Unbelievable.
happen, and he does.
Yeah, it's one of those spots where you're like, all right, this game's probably over. The only chance I have is if my opponent is holding blanks and about to draw a bunch of land.
Right.
Therefore, I'll assume my opponent is holding blanks and about to draw a bunch of land.
Yes, play accordingly.
And play accordingly.
Yeah.
Sometimes that works out. Wow. I feel bad for Matt, though. He had that game.
He did, yeah. He got a bit unlucky there.
Yeah, he definitely flooded out. But I mean, the rush judgment call, that doesn't mean that he was wrong to put the rush in his deck. It just means that it didn't work out in this particular game.
Yeah.
I guess it slightly raises the odds that he was wrong.
Indeed.
Crazy game.
I can't believe Nagai won that game.
No, me neither.
There were so many cards for Matt Costa.
Yeah, and the 2 harsh sustenances, I still can't figure out if he played that right. His play makes more sense once we figured out he had a second harsh sustenance.
Yeah, it does.
Because he's like, okay, basically, he can trade 2 cards for the Prowler, and then he's going to trade one of the harsh sustenances for the Leaping Master. He just had to choose the order and which way.
Yeah, and he wanted to keep his board state intact,
Right.
partially, by leaving his 2/2.
Yeah, right. So our line, if he uses the first harsh sustenance on the Leaping Master, and then double blocks the Prowler, he winds up with a harsh sustenance in hand versus an empty board for Matt Costa.
Yeah, and
the way he played it, he winds up with a Morphin play versus an empty board for Matt Costa.
Right, but that turns on his harsh sustenance, because remember, it doesn't do anything if you don't have a board.
Yeah, so I think his line does seem
It
correct,
does make
doesn't
sense, yeah. He didn't strand that other harsh sustenance in his hand. Now, he would have gained a little more life there, too. I don't think that would have mattered here.
But yeah, his play, I take back everything we said. I think his play was right.
Okay. Yeah, the second harsh sustenance certainly changes the way that you approach that. It puts an absolute premium on having at least a creature on the battlefield when your opponent has a 1 toughness threat that you have to deal with.
There's
so.
that, and then in addition to that, I think there's the fact that if Matt doesn't draw anything, you'd rather have a morph in play anyway.
Sure.
Right. If you could, rather than have a card in hand, you'd rather have a creature you can attack with.
Yeah.
I mean, connected, not a completely separate point, but interesting. Yeah, that was an interesting game.
It was an interesting game.
Is our other table also shuffling? Is that what's going on? Yeah, the other table we have is Chaz Hinkle, who is the #1 seed coming in. I mean, 4-way tie for first overnight, playing against Rafael Peralta, the 2 seed in Pod 1. Rafael is on 2 losses, so he's 13th place currently, sitting on 4-2.
All right, looks like we're underway here in game 2. I spoke a little too soon.
Chaz Hinkle drafted 3-color. He is Teamer. Arc Lightning, couple Hooting Mandrills, couple Winter Flames, a Torrent Elemental. Torrent Elemental seems absurd.
That card's nuts. It's easy to forget some of the abilities because it has so many on it, but the
They're
most important
all
one
relevant and
says
all good.
tap. Tap your team. I lost to that card in a draft we did last night.
I beat it. Easy.
Rashad beat
I don't
Torrent
believe-
Elemental?
I don't
How did you
believe
beat
you.
it easy?
Kept attacking.
He kept attacking or you kept attacking?
I kept attacking.
Wow, Peralta, who is Chad Hinkle's opponent on Pod 1, Mardu with 3 Mardu Rough Riders and Ankle Shanker.
3?
3. His multicolored,
Nice late game.
multicolored 3 Rough Riders, a Mardu Ascendancy, and an Ankle Shanker.
That's a nice late game.
It's not a bad 5 slot.
All right, light form to kick things off for Costa. Nice turn 3 play here. Nagai doesn't have anything going on yet. And I think he's making the decision if he wants to play as Mardu Horde Chief without Raid here, or if he has another play he can do instead. I think he does. He can play a Morph. Oh, nice. Sandstep Outcast. Very, very solid common. One of the best white commons from the new set, if not the best. Card is going to see a lot of play in Limited.
definitely.
And another good curve here for Costa. No 2-drop, which is weird. His deck is
Has
very, very good.
6 of them?
Yeah, at 2 drops. But his 3 and 4 were 2 of his best, so he made up for it. So Spirit Token is going to get in for a damage here. And what's the follow-up? Ooh, Bellowing Saddle Brood. Nice to meet you, Summit Prowler. Trump card played. Yeah, so Matt Costa off to a good start from a race perspective, but Bellowing Saddle Brood is definitely going to change things significantly. The light form gaining life for Costa is going to matter here as well.
Which card is that?
Oh, you know which one that is?
Is that the siege?
No, that's the one where if you've got instant or sorcery in your yard, it gets first strike and trample. Let me find the name of it. I actually
Bloodfire
haven't-
Enforcers?
Is that what it's called? I haven't played against it yet.
I think it's Bloodfire Enforcers.
Yeah, that is what it is. Yeah, yeah. I did not see Costa draft that card.
So 5/2, first strike and trample if you have an instant or sorcery in your yard.
No.
Instant and.
Yeah. You need both, which is a pretty tough sell. But you know what? It does a
trades with Saddle
nice
Brute.
job blocking a Saddle Brute.
It's basically Canyon Lurkers without Morph, is what you're telling me.
I think this is more like the green one, you know, the Archers, the 5/2 reach defender. It played that role here. That's pretty nice, though. In the meantime, Nagai has had no problem developing his board here. Look at that. Now you can see why those Harsh Sustenance can do work in Nagai's deck. We saw them pretty minimized because he had to block so much last game, but here it does 5. Like, huge.
Gonna need to deal with Flying Lifelink at some point.
He is indeed.
And yeah, Summer Prowler, Matt just races, right?
Yeah, he's
He's
just
attacking
jamming.
for 6. He's got 2 life he's going to gain off this attack. I mean, the guy's board is impressive in its width, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, how much power is actually over there? 6?
Well, and this also gets super risky, right? I mean, if Nagai decides to block with his Horde Chief and his token on the Prowler, Matt Costa can get a pretty nasty blowout with basically any combat trick he has.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call it a blowout, but he can get a 1-for-1.
Yeah, you feel better getting quote-unquote 2-for-1 when it's a random 1/1 token.
Right. Yeah, this makes
All right,
more
yeah,
sense.
the 2/1 and the 1/1.
I like that a little better. If he's going to lose a creature here, it might as well be his 2/1 and not his 2/3. They're the same on the board, and it's War Flare that Costa has, and that is going to actually take care of that problem. So he's going to end up gaining 4, doing 4 to Nagai, and the Summit Prowler is going to survive. So good value from his War Flare. I mean, I think a lot of times you think of that type of card as one that would be a game-ending card, but you can also use it as a combat trick. He also has his blockers back now, too, so he gets a lot of value out of a card like that.
He even gets to gain the 4 life off the lifelink.
Totally.
Hits for 2 extra.
Nice race. Costa's at 27.
Yeah.
Light form's good. They called the judge just because the top card of Costa's library just accidentally got knocked off, and just to make sure that everything's good. Just in case it was revealed, they're going to give the deck a shuffle. Matt Costa had no knowledge of where any of the cards were in his library anyway. And we'll get back underway here. So how in the world is Nagai going to get out of this? He is somewhat behind in damage. He's about halfway. But honestly,
He's got 3 power to his opponent's 6, and he's down 27-12.
yeah, I don't know. But Costa, like, Nagai's not that far off from stabilizing here. Like, Costa's got 2 that's going to keep hitting him.
Yeah, he needs to remove the Flying Lifelinker.
Yeah, that's the key. Because one thing that the guy can do is put a counter on his disowned ancestor and then just start blocking
Sure.
the Prowler. That's a Palace Siege. Interesting. So speaking of
What's his
racing,
choice?
so his choice is he can drain his opponent for 2, or he can return every upkeep, or he can return a creature from his graveyard to his hand every upkeep.
Dragon.
He took dragons. That's returning a card from his
No,
hand.
that's the drain for 2.
Or the draining rain. Yeah. So
Hand was it?
he's going to make it. He's now even. He has now removed the light form creature.
Right. He's essentially both players are draining the other guy for 2 on their turn.
Yep. That would favor Matt, given that he's way
Feels
ahead.
like Palace
but-
Siege ought to be capable of doing more than just neutralizing a light form.
Got to play that card at the pre-release. I was in a much different type of deck than the guy's playing, but I was impressed by it. It's okay. And the guy decided that he is just going to trade off.
I mean, he tried double blocking last turn. Of course, he fished out the 1 combat trick.
Yeah, they never have the second one, right?
I mean, they sometimes do, but they're less likely to. And you've sort of already committed to this line, right? Like the
Indeed.
second time you try it, it's more likely to work. So it's a better play than last turn.
Sure, and it worked, especially now
Yeah,
that he
the
has
second one
Palace
worked.
Siege out, just sort of keeping pace with the light form.
Face up Canyon Lurkers.
Doing it the good old-fashioned way for Costa. So the guy just needs creatures.
Gets
He
in
just
one
needs
hit,
staying
right?
there.
Let's
Yeah.
go take Ancestor has 0 counter, so yeah, 2
Yeah.
hits is a lot.
Yeah, he needs something. It looks like he's got a Crew Shock here, the 3/5. Which is a little awkward. He'd rather just have like some random 2-drop
Yeah,
to
he
trade.
wants to be able to. Also, he would like to have 2 mana left.
Oh,
over
that
for-
works too. Hardcast War Behemoth. That's nice. That shores up the ground game pretty well here. Meanwhile, this light form manifest that came down on turn 3 has been doing serious work. And speaking of serious work, here's
War Shrieker and a
War
morph.
Shrieker into a morph. And upkeep back up to 12 for Nagai.
Alabaster Kieran is a great answer to light form.
Now Nagai does not level up his disowned ancestor here.
Oh, interesting.
No Outlast happening.
I'd rather leave it on defense.
Yeah, he'd rather just block the War Shrieker, I suppose, though.
I mean, if he had outlasted, he is totally blown out by any kind of active treason style card.
Oh, that's for sure. All right, bring low on the Alabaster Kieran. And now the beats keep coming. That light form has hit him consistently since turn 3. I don't think it stopped attacking once. I'm assuming that the guy hit his Palace Siege trigger there. And there's a Great Horn Crew Shock for Nagai. So he's got the shields firmly up on the ground, but in the air they're not. Though his life total hasn't actually dipped. They've just traded drain for 2s back and forth. He brought the dragon in. There it is.
Lightning Shrieker! Rah!
Looks pretty nice here until
Ask you a
it goes
question.
away.
Remember, next time he draws it, he wins.
All right, so it does get through, and that's going to drop Nagai down to 5, which is certainly relevant. Again, because Costa has Aerostorm in his deck. He's got 2 of them. So even though Nagai will go back up to 7 off the siege, if Costa can attack one more time with Light Form, get in there, bring him back down to 5, and then Aerostorm, which, oh, he's got 2 in his hand.
Does he really?
Yes, we will be getting to game 3 unless Nagai draws something like a Harsh Sustenance or a way to gain life very quickly here. Now Raider Spoils is not it, and he passes the turn back. So I think that Costa's got him here. That's 5, and Aerostorm you. Whoop.
Yep, that'll do.
So we're going to get a game 3 here as Costa finds a victory pretty handily there. I mean, Nagai put up a nice fight, but ultimately the light form train never stopped. He just said, attack with this every turn. and it did every turn.
It's a much better mix of land and spells for Matt, too.
It was indeed.
All right, speaking of game threes. Tier v
Chaz
Mardu.
Hinkle.
Mardu Ascendancy and a Rough Rider for Rafael Peralta.
Well, looks like the... Oh, still... So he had 2 Rough Riders on the field? Because one of them just hit the bin.
Evidently.
Yeah, one of them just got savagely punched there. Not a lot of action at the moment for some reason.
Well, I think Peralta just got smashed down to 5. He's trying to figure out how to play it from here.
Bathe
That
in
wants to
Dragonfire.
take a bath.
Yeah. So Pharaoh Cruciak hits the bin, and that leaves Chaz with not a whole lot.
Ooh, Winterflame.
Winterflame's a decent start, but still, that's only a 2/2. Does he have a way to punch through the last chunk of damage here? Peralta falls to 3. Singing Bell Strike is going to be pretty annoying there for Peralta. It's not a permanent answer, but...
Oh, jeez.
Oh, okay. Well, still, I don't know. Peralta's still not in a terrible position here. He does need to find something for next turn.
He's not? He looks in a pretty terrible position to me.
I don't know. He untaps, he blocks the mandrills, he takes 2, goes to 1, and then he just needs a creature next turn.
Well, he needs a 6th land.
Oh, he doesn't have a 6th
No, he
land
has
yet?
5 lands.
Oh, no. Did not notice that. Yeah, okay. You got me, Randy. He's in a terrible position. Singing Bell Strike just straight up removing that thing at the moment.
Clearing a path for a potentially lethal Hooting Mandrills. And yeah, even if he does have the 6th land, he's then obliged to spend his turn untapping. He gets hit down to 1.
Mm-hmm. But then you got to figure basically any creature
Sure.
will stabilize him. It's close. Chaz Hinkle is currently #1 seed in the tournament, though he is tied with 3 other players at 5-1. That's a heel cutter. Goblin heel cutter. He's just going to play it no dash.
Heel cutter go.
And he loses.
Trample damage?
Oh, he's going to be able to sack for pump. All right. Land?
Didn't look like a land.
I agree with you. It sure didn't. Ugh, there's a very dead... Okay, a swine. Now he just loses, right? Unless he has a removal spell or something.
Trample damage seems like a problem.
It's a big issue here. Swine's only got 1 toughness. The heel cutter only has 2. Yeah, I think that's
Obliged
going
to
to
block
do it.
both creatures.
That's going to do it.
There you go.
All right, so Chaz Hinkle is going to continue to stay on top of the standings there as we're back to our main match. Sultai Emissary kicks things off for Mamoru Nagai.
Smoldering Efreet. Turn 2, right where you want him.
That is where you want him.
When you're forced to have him in your deck anyway. Yeah, not in love with the quality of his deck. Although, again, we feel like he has the right deck for his seat. You were saying there is another red-white drafter at the table?
Yeah, red, white, and blue.
Sure. Jeskai probably scooped up some of his card quality.
Totally. First picked Monastery Mentor. That was directly on Costa's right-hand side as Yoel Larson.
Got it. There's the light form again.
So good curves from both players, 2 drops into 3 drops, and strong cards around too. Looks like Nagai's in the tank. Maybe they're asking the judge something. It feels like they're not doing.
He's just thinking.
He's just thinking forever.
Block, trade, yeah.
Looks like it might be raid afoot here. Yeah, Saddle Brute. There it is. Big Daddy Saddle Brute hits the battlefield, and that can actually race a light form in conjunction with the rest of Nagai's board here. Assuming the life form doesn't become something scarier and or more powerful.
Yeah, we were talking during the draft about how much upside there is in Manifest.
Yeah.
That's really what gives light form and that cycle a lot of its power. When you hit something saucy, so good.
Totally. Yeah, most limited decks have about 40% creatures or so. And another 60% of those, 50% of those are going to be, kind of sweet cards to turn up with light form. The other ones are going to be, like a 2/2 that doesn't actually change much anyway.
Bloodfire Enforcers lives to block battling Saddle Brute in this game, doesn't it?
It really does.
His mission in life.
I wonder if it's going to get sustenanced here. That's exactly what's going to happen. And this is going to clear the way for a big attack from Nagai. 6 damage here. And Nagai also gained 3 life from that harsh sustenance, keeping the light form well out of range of trying to race her here. So this is exactly where Matt does not want to be, right? He's now behind in a damage race situation. He's got Fierce Invocation here, which is going to make a 4/4 manifest effectively. And that's just not quite big enough. That Saddle Brute, this is why 4/5 in this format is such an amazing stat. I'm looking for Ugin's Construct to do good work for this same reason. It's just, you get this type of card down and it just does so much work. Now the Sultai Emissary is going to act as a little speed bump as well on the ground for the other 4/4. It's going to make a manifest that can then attack. Like, things are looking quite good here for Nagai. Now Costa's got a grip though, and he's not done yet. It's just, that Saddle Brute's going to do work. I think he just drew Arrow Storm. It should be a really nice draw here. He can use Raid to kill the Saddle Brute and really reduce Nagai's board state down to just a couple of 1/1s.
Valley Dasher.
He's going to get some dash going here. Not the new type, the old type. In comes the team. So the expected play is for the Emissary to chump block here, but we have seen from Nagai that he's got Kill Shot in his deck too. And he's got all of his mana up, so it's not impossible for him to have a trick or removal spell as well. Kill Shot light form. What was it that whole time? Mountain. And
But the Dasher gets through.
The Dasher gets through, and here's Sultai Emissary becoming a manifest creature, and there's a soul summon, so a flurry of activity here. But at the end of the day, Nagai still currently has his Bellowing Saddle Brute going.
Yeah, Bellowing Saddle Brute's still the biggest creature on the board.
Right. And there's a Plains off the top for Nagai. Now, no more lifelink is happening for either player, so this is a traditional race scenario. It really matters what that manifest creature is too, if that's some type of morph that he can flip up or a creature with high toughness, he can just eat a Valley Dasher for free or start blocking the 4/4 while attacking with his Saddle Brute. If it's not, it's a lot sketchier. All right, the race is on. Pedal to the metal from Mamoru Nagai. He's going to attack with his whole team. So Costa's taking at least 7 if he doesn't block. He doesn't block, he takes 7. Nagai double checks his his manifest creature, but it doesn't flip it up. And passes the turn back. Oh, it's Jeering Instigator. Steal your biggest creature.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
And if he has a land, he can actually just kill him.
Land Aerostorm would be lethal, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he gets to flip it up for its mana cost instead of
Yes.
its morph cost. He gets to choose because it was manifested.
Totally, so it's even
Which-
cheaper.
Matters if he's got Land Aerostorm. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12. Be at 5, says Matt Costa.
Oh, he's got
War
War
Flare!
Flare.
So the 1
6,
mana
10,
savings, the 1 mana
14.
savings gave him the mana he needed for the War Flare. Now instead of 12, it's 20.
It's 20 exactly. Wow.
Wow. Matt Costa, ladies and gentlemen.
Look at Nagai. He's just shell-shocked here. Does he have anything?
17, the biggest creatures and the most life. What just happened?
He does have something. Channel Harm! No way! Why is
So
Costa-
Channel Harm prevents all the damage.
Oh my, what was he thinking about? Oh,
No
which
idea.
creature to kill, I guess? Oh my god.
Channel Harm prevents all damage that would be dealt to you and permanents you control.
Yes, he's not losing any
If damage
of his
is prevented
creatures.
that way, you may have Channel Harm deal that much damage to target creature.
Oh my goodness sakes.
That was insane.
What a blowout. Well, that's how they wrote it up.
Pretty much.
That's what Channel Harm's supposed to do. Somehow Valley Dasher gets to block after it's been on the field for 5 or 6 turns. And Nagai stays at 17 life after that too. Like he's not in
Yeah,
burn range
and that
and
extends
Channel
the hand.
Harm.
Wow.
Whoa.
I think we all knew when we read that card that when it resolves, it's going to be ridiculous.